So we got a new Dracula in 2020. Is it worth sinking your teeth into, or does it suck? How is it going, everyone? And I bid you welcome to another episode of the House of Horror. It is no secret at all that I am a huge fan of Dracula. I love the original novel, all the original films, and pretty much anything that has to do with Dracula, I can find something good in it. Except maybe with that. That's right, I'm a huge Dracula fanboy, and it's always been such a huge part of my life. So of course, when I first heard about a new adaptation coming in 2020, I was beyond excited for it. I watched it first thing back in January when it came out, and I've just been dying to talk about it. So let's just open up this Earth box and really unpack it. This new version of Dracula is actually a mini-series produced by the BBC and first premiered on Netflix. The series is broken down into 3 episodes, roughly an hour and a half each. It was brought to us by the same team that produced the Sherlock series, and it's easy to see the similarities between the two shows in terms of how the episodes are structured, and also how it's taking a classic literary source and doing something original with it. We're gonna go mostly spoiler-free with this review, so if you haven't seen the series yet, you have nothing to worry about. It's weird to say this in a review, but I do recommend for you guys, if you plan on watching the show, to not take the critical reception or things you read online too seriously. Because the series has been pretty divisive online, to say the least. I'm just here to share my personal opinions about it, so you can take it or leave it. I'm not expecting anyone to take my opinion or anyone's opinion as the gold standard or anything. And trust me, I've heard pretty much everything online about this series since it first came out a few months ago. Anything ranging from it should be admired for putting such a unique twist on a classic tale, to that it's complete garbage and should have a stake driven in it. But mostly what I've heard from audiences pretty much across the board is that the first 2 episodes are significantly better than the 3rd one. But what about me, and what part of the fandom do I fall? Well, for me, honestly, I loved the series. Do I think it's the greatest interpretation of Dracula? Absolutely not, but that doesn't mean I still don't find enjoyment in it. Would I have liked a lot of things in the series to be approached differently? Of course, but that doesn't mean it wasn't a ton of fun. And over the years, I've learned to judge things for what they are rather than what I want them to be. So for what it is, I thought it was really good. I guess first things first, we need to address Dracula himself. In my opinion, it was a really double-edged sword casting a relatively unknown actor to play Dracula. Because on one hand, you don't have a big name to draw people in, but on the other side of the spectrum, it leaves you with no expectations. Dracula is played by Danish actor Claes Bang, and he is incredible. When it comes to on-screen versions of the Count, he is by far one of my favorites already, even with the series just coming out. He is basically everything you want your Dracula to be. He has the commanding size and power of a Christopher Lee, but he also has this smooth and seductive quality that we would see with other versions of Dracula, usually played by smaller actors. So it's the perfect mix for those who want their Dracula cool and cunning, and for those who want him to be super threatening and look like he could rip people apart. He is incredibly likable and sympathetic when he needs to be, and the complete opposite of the spectrum when the situation calls for it. I also really like some of the twists they took with the character, such as why he chooses his victims the way he does and what the blood does for him. I won't go too deep into it, but as they say in the series, the blood is lives. So not only is Dracula gaining life force from the blood, but also the victim's knowledge and arguably part of their soul. And I just thought it was a great way to add something new to the mythology. I also love some of the questions the series had us asking about vampires that no other adaptation really has done before, at least to this level. Like, why do vampires need to be invited in? Why are they scared of the cross? And what makes the sunlight so fatal to them? I think that these were just great questions to ask, especially with how the world kinda is right now, where everyone is just sort of believing everything they read online and not doing the research for themselves. Hell, it happens all the time today, and sometimes we even think things about ourselves that may not be true. And the series came out in the perfect time where we're all sort of looking at ourselves in the mirror and seeing the monsters that we can be at times. As far as other things I liked, I really loved the relationship between Dracula and Van Helsing. Part of the joy of this series is the game of chess between our 2 leads, both literally and figuratively. It gives us a real cat and mouse relationship where the roles are flip-flopped several times throughout the series. Once one of them outsmarts the other one throws something at him that completely flips the situation on its head. Just everything about this rivalry is extraordinarily well done. A few more random things that I liked. I really enjoyed that we got to see some Dracula transformations in here. Surprisingly, we don't really see him transform much in many other adaptations. So here in this series, I'm actually really glad that we saw what some of these transformations look like. And trust me, they can get brutal. I also appreciate all the little references and in-jokes they included here if you're a hardcore fan of vampires. I'm not gonna go over all of them here, but we see homages to Christopher Lee's Horror of Dracula, and even Dracula AD 1972 for some reason, as well as a deep reference for all of our historians out there with the inclusion of Lord Ruthven. As far as the things I'm mixed about or don't really like, it's all of the same stuff you've seen online. I'm conflicted about the story structure and what they decided to expand upon and omit in the story. Some of it works out really well, like the segments with the Demeter, and other parts that I'm not really going to get into can be seen as a little bit of a miss. But again, you have to judge it for what it is and not what you want it to be. And for what it is, I think they did as well as they could with the decisions they made. And for me, I really enjoyed all 3 episodes, even the controversial 3rd one. I think they took a lot of really bold risks here, and instead of just doing the same story over and over again, I have to at least respect them for trying something new. Again, just take things for what they are, because I really think it's sort of been getting a harsh rap. Do I wish we were able to get this Claes Bank performance in a version of Dracula that was exactly like the book? Of course. But that'll never happen, so we just have to take what we're given. And for what we're given overall, I really loved the show. Of course, there are tons of things that I could nitpick and point out every little flaw, and maybe at some point down the line I'll do a little more spoiler-filled discussion about this. But for now, I encourage all of you to check it out for yourselves and make your own judgments about it. I, for one, definitely plan on revisiting the series many times in the future, and I want to know what all of you guys think about it. Have you seen the series before? Let me know down in the comment section below, and tell me, what was your favorite and your least favorite thing about it? I am excited to hear it, and if you guys haven't already, please make sure you subscribe to my channel and turn on notifications so you know when I come out with new videos. And if you were to give this video a thumbs up and share it with a friend, it would be greatly appreciated. Again, that's really all I have to say right now about the Dracula series. But if someday you guys want to see an in-depth episodic review from me, let me know, because that is definitely something I would explore. You guys know I love talking about this shit. But anyway, that is about it for this time, guys. I will see you back here tomorrow for another episode from the House of Horror. So as always, take care and stay spooky.